Hi, I'm Mushi and this is frame-by-frame analysis of the Lucky Block staff fight, specifically the fight inside the Lucky Block universe. This series is meant to break down all of the little things in Alan Becker's fight scenes that happen in the blink of an eye, and appreciate these little gems that are usually too fast to even notice. In the previous video, I did the chef, which I personally think is one of the more technical 1v5s in the whole series, but today we're going for something fantastical. Now, the format of this series is that I'll be slowing down the footage by a lot, and I'll be having a little part of the video that has the frame or snapshot that's most relevant. This scene comes from Red stealing Yellow's staff and slots in a Lucky Block, only to realize that he absolutely shouldn't have done that, and now the sticks have been kidnapped into the Lucky Block dimension, and they need to retrieve both the staff and the original block. The nature of this fight, unlike the chef, is much more hyperactive, with each of the sticks fighting their mini battles and the camera moving from highlight to highlight. Now, unlike the chef where the scenes don't highlight a particular fighter, this one does. You get moments where one stick is clearly the main fighter and the editing respects it so. So this is going to be an interesting breakdown because we're constantly going back and forth from wide shots where the action is scattered into impact shots where the action is focused. The best way that I'm going to break this sequence is by splicing it based on main enemies. The sticks, while ascending the strange realm, have to fight a series of mini-bosses they need to get through, and I think that's the best way to sort this monster of a fight. So, let's start with the very beginning. They arrive at the heart of the block and have to fight a piglin, goat, and fish. Orange reacts fast with the wood wall to block an incoming attack from a goat, and Green jumps straight on its back, riding it. Yellow hooks onto the wall with a fishing rod and follows Green's lead just to slam straight into him, knocking Green off the goat and killing it. Blue does a roll over the wall and the two of them watch the goat die. Green is collateral damage number 1, courtesy of Yellow. Yellow's the main fighter here and he just hooks straight onto the fish, slamming it into his hand without any kind of mercy. And he just kind of pockets it, I guess? Meanwhile, in the back, we have Green mourning the loss of his new ride and Blue just is kind of staring at it too. Orange, on the other hand, is particularly unbothered by what he has to face and just kicks the chicken, killing it instantly. The piglin starts his assault by throwing a series of netherrack, and we get a nice reference to Red's Herobrine sequence from Animation vs. Minecraft, the original. This is the moment where Red is trying to push back Yellow and Green's assault, and he beats the piglin with Green's technique with a pickaxe. Red shoves a pickaxe right into the zombie piglin, killing him and acquiring the first staff. I like how you can also hear the bee creeper thing hiss a little when Red pulls out the creeper. He changes the block into a spawner and spawns the ghast, which they ride all the way throughout this journey. He motions for everyone to jump first, then spawns it underneath them. We get a snapshot of the other enemies in the sky, noticing the intruders and making their way down to fight them. Green keeps the first staff and slots in the note block. Blue dodges an incoming desert zombie, and the next sequence commences. This is where things get mildly messy. Red kills the desert zombie while Blue kills a killer bee, then goes to fight a pillager. Yellow focuses on dodging instead of actively engaging, and Orange is fighting off a blaze. Green provides backup for Blue while he rows away to safety, and Red and Orange tag team against the blaze and the killer bee. The golem joins the fray with a bookshelf staff, and I find it cute that while Blue, Red, and Orange are fighting the books off, Yellow just kinda makes a cover and hold. Green stops the golem mid-jump by sending an F-clef its way, and I like how all of the notes are each of their colors. Blue dives for the staff and they've successfully secured the second one. If you also notice in the sky there's a skeleton chilling on a blaze. Green tosses the staff over to Yellow, who does a jump to catch it, and Blue swaps the shelf staff for a piston staff. And in comes the blazes. There are two separate fights in this sequence, grouped by choreography. First one is Green and Red, who are primarily focused on killing the ground-level enemies as much as possible. Green propelling himself onto the desert zombie that Orange is riding on is absolutely amazing here, and I'm so upset that it happens so quickly. The second fight is in the skies, with Orange and Blue. Blue's the only one that can reach farther mobs, and he uses Orange as his secondary support. They start with the ground enemies first, before Orange jumps in front of Blue and lets himself get propelled up by Blue's piston like a platform. Blue uses the piston to propel in two ways. He either uses it like a seesaw or he uses it like a pogo stick with the end of the piston. On the other hand, Yellow takes on a more passive role during this fight and relies on the others to guard him. Yellow tries out a couple of blocks first, shifting from a crystal to note block, then an enchantment table. Yellow enchants all of their items with the enchantment staff, giving Red's carrots the flame attribute which he uses as shurikens. As an animal lover, of course he has the godforsaken stack of carrots which he uses to kill a skeleton horse. Orange and blue cover for yellow, and orange gets a pair of gold boots which yellow adds channeling to. Off screen you can see blue throwing a creeper straight into green. Green gets an entire human being that's just minding its own business. Don't question it. I love how you can see the baby villager flailing in Green's grip, probably asking him to let him go. But yellow doesn't even bat an eye to this and just goes, yeah, that works. Blue and red are covering for the two when green joins the fray and sends a blaze flying into the stratosphere. Yellow is absolutely invested in this and starts laughing before dodging a pillager. Orange covers for him while he looks for another weapon, and this is where he finds a dispenser, which he enchants with multi-shot, piercing 99, and power 99. You know, Yellow's love for shooting things with dispensers needs to be studied. He grabs onto the dispenser, making sure not to fall into the void, and starts adding a bunch of things to it. Then, we enter the pillager sequence. This sequence opens with Yellow getting distracted, and Blue having to pull him out with the piston staff. Orange joins the fray after killing a spider, while Yellow stumbles backwards. Yellow finishes up the Ravager with an onslaught of arrows, eggs, and snowballs. Then we cut to Red and Green guarding him from the rear. Green is fending off a slime with his human weapon, while Blue and Orange move to cover for the other two. Orange takes to the skies, and Green and Red finish off the ones at the bottom. Blue and Orange are the highlights of this scene, as we can see an extension of their previous teamwork with the piston staff. Only now, Orange takes on a more aggressive fighting style with the channeling boots. Blue propels Orange into one of the blazes, and Orange uses his fresh kill as a platform for the next one. Blue covers for Orange and launches himself into the air to continue Orange's onslaught by shoving him into a spider holding onto a ghast. Then, Blue finishes off a zombie piglin behind him with Yellow's help. Orange gets a really cool multi-kill here by jumping onto the spider, bat, zombie, and then the zombie baby villager. On the ground, we see Yellow facing off against a raider, but gets bear-trapped mid-jump along with his staff. Blue nearly falls into it but catches himself with the piston staff, launching him to the other side. Blue and Orange rendezvous in the sky, to which Blue propels the ladder into the raider, trapping Yellow, successfully freeing him. A creeper then drops down and Orange tries to kick it out of existence, only to accidentally overcharge it. Both him and Yellow go, oh shit, and Orange grabs it as fast as he can to hurl it away from them. On the other side, Green is having a 1v1 with a zombie with a dripstone staff. He tries to smack the zombie with the child, but to no avail. The zombie continues its onslaught on a defenseless Green, who tries to back away, but the zombie is stopped by the literal homing missile that is Orange's feet. Orange and Green take a moment to recover themselves, with Green standing mildly surprised with what just went down. Orange quickly recovers the new staff, and while Green is busy zoning out, Blue comes from the other side and slams straight into him. Green now has been bodied by two of his teammates in this entire fight. I love the small look back that Blue does as if saying, whoops, sorry. Yellow finishes off whatever he's fighting and gets a leaf box staff and a chisel staff, which Red takes. Red passes the chisel staff over to Green and he takes a leaf block for himself. Yellow's packing his dispenser with a bunch of random items, and you can see that when it gets to dispensing the water bucket with the fish, a bucket flies out and Yellow just stares at it. The five of them collect their bearings and start looking for the optimal blocks to stash into their staves. Yellow slots in the redstone, and Red gets the TNT from the bee. Their next sequence is with the queen bee, who the little creeper bee is quite happy to see. That was a very hard sentence to record. The queen sends an army of little bees to fight them, and Blue returns to the skies with the lapis lazuli block. All things considered, this is a pretty standard fight scene for all of them, with each of them throwing out bombs or lasers with their cool weapons. But a cute side sequence here is the creeper bee trying to make friends with the newbies. It tries to go to the ones closest to it, but they're immediately shot down by Yellow's laser and it panics and leaves Yellow's line of fire. Blue is absolutely hoarded by the bees while he's mid-air and has to get bailed out by Red's TNT. Meanwhile, the creeper bee tries its luck with the ones on the other side, seeing an entire horde of bees coming its way. It tries to get their attention and befriend them, only to get shoved past and ignored as the bees make their way to a flying Blue. Meanwhile, on the ground, Orange and Green are keeping themselves relatively stable, but Red receives pushback from the bees and he's shoved into Yellow, who rolls out of the way. Red's able to counterattack with a TNT throw, and Yellow shoots backwards with a laser. On the other side, Orange is trying to dodge the bees that are cannonballing down to sting him, only to have them all stuck into the ghast. Green sweeps them away with a chisel and makes quick work out of them. Blue is struggling heavily in the sky and Red notices this. He tosses another TNT into the air and gets the bees off of him. Green and Orange are fending for their life, and Green's staff is hoarded by the little guys. He is raised into the air like a bad balloon, and Orange catches him by targeting the bees grabbing onto Green's chisel staff. The ghast is targeted during this sequence, and Orange makes a nice bedrock helmet for it. The ghast repays his kindness by shooting down the queen bee, dropping down the hive staff for Red to catch. Yellow pats the ghast as thanks, and I love the little character detail he has, and that Yellow is really adorable with ghast mobs. This sequence ends with Red calling back all of the bees into the hive, along with the little creeper bee. But that respite is short-lived as a shulker box targets Red with a torch staff. Orange shoves him out of the way to block the shot with a bedrock, and Blue and Yellow swap out their weapons, and Red makes a small jab with the Steve staff, to which Blue gives a very gentle, "not now." Yellow jumps in for Orange with an ice staff and encases the shulker, and Green cuts through it with a chisel and completely decimates the poor thing, only to be zapped by lightning and going down for the count into the next sequence. Green is incapacitated for the entirety of this fight. The axolotl with the lightning rod staff throws down beams at everyone. Orange provides cover as being the only one with the staff capable of block generation, and Red's Steve staff is struck into a Herobrine staff, and we get the payoff that he deserves. While the other three are trying to stay alive, Red teleports into the skies and smacks the axolotl out of existence, killing it and letting Blue retrieve the lightning staff. The next batch of enemies comes into the fray, and the board is separated into three sides. Orange runs for the blaze and Blue is intercepted by a villager in a cauldron, whose staff turns into an anvil and Blue makes quick work of him. In the back, we can see Red flying away with the blaze and Yellow with his own battles. A new batch of enemies try to jump on Blue, but he stops them mid-flight with a bunch of bubbles from the transmutation potions. He slaps a zombie piglin and turns it into a skulk sensor, which Orange realizes from his fight against the warden. He equips it into his staff, curious how it's supposed to work. He immediately finds out that the skulk's vibrations give him spidey sense against an incoming spiderweb. The next sequence is against a polar bear with a spiderweb staff. It jumps down and shoots a web into Red's staff, disabling the TNT block. Blue's staves are also turned into webs, and Green is blinded with a web into his face. Red flies into the bear and teleports behind it, sending a kick right into its neck and knocking it forward. Blue bashes its head in with the two staves, and Green runs in with the finishing move to roast the bear alive. The spiderweb staff falls, and Green acquires a new weapon. Meanwhile, we have Yellow and Orange facing off against a wither skeleton. Yellow jumps and shoots the campfire staff down, letting himself fly with the flames thrust. He kills the wither skeleton without any problem and secures the next staff, and the random block generator gives him a bell. Meanwhile, as Blue and Red try to get the webs off their weapons, the three are ambushed by an incoming cow. Green's the only one that turns to see an entire cow kicking them into oblivion, and the three ragdoll into each other. Before I continue, I want to appreciate this frame by frame of this. Green is slammed neck first into an unsuspecting Red, who definitely didn't realize that there was an entire body coming his way. Then Blue, who sees this in just a flash, tries to fight back, but he can't do anything against Red and Green being hurled his way. He's sandwiched in between these two and is thrown backwards into another portal. Orange notices the portal open up while Yellow is still deciding whether to use the Wither Skull or not. The sensor detects movement happening in the sky, and Orange is pulled away to safety, but Yellow is unfortunately a human landing pad. Red and Green come crashing down onto Yellow, and you can see that Yellow struggles to push Red off of his face, only to fail spectacularly with Blue falling on top of all of him, crushing Yellow and unfortunately putting him down for the count. Green is the first one to recover from this massive pile of sticks and retaliates against the cow, much to Orange's confusion about what is happening. With the spider staff, he swings over the portal under him and tries to launch a kick into the cow, only to be dodged. The cow promptly rage baits him. Green takes the fight into disguise, with the cow constantly invading him with a number of end portals. The cow counterattacks with a kick that Green swings out of the way of as he notices a portal opening right in front of him, and the two of them share a series of evasions that don't really connect because neither of them can really touch each other. Green, though, makes a great maneuver and doesn't go for the cow itself, but instead uses the portal to throw a web downwards to Orange, where he grabs the bell staff from him. He pulls the staff into the portal, hurling it straight into the cow's face before it could dodge. The cow loses its grip on the end staff, which Green steals, and he opens two portals parallel to each other. He keeps the cow in perpetual motion a la Portal 2 momentum style and sends him into space. Whether or not this is an actual Portal reference is beyond me, but a part of me is willing to delude myself into thinking that it is. Anyway, back to the fight. Green takes a moment to admire his work before immediately moving to dodge an incoming attack from a boat with an emerald staff. Green tries to push it back using the spider webs, but to no avail. But he's able to get the jump on it by opening a portal underneath it and propelling it into the air. He grabs onto it with the spiderweb staff and pulls himself to jump on top of it. He tries to ride the boat, but the boat spins against him and he's flung out. He tries to fly backwards and fling himself again, only to get the entire staff chucked at his head with the funniest smear frame I've ever seen of the poor guy. Green is sent flying backwards and the spider staff flies to the boat, which it uses to propel itself forward towards the emerald block staff to catch it. Yellow flies in with the coolest pose of the entire fight and tries to bash himself into the boat, which he successfully does. Red starts the assault by blinking to the boat to stop its escape, and Green yanks on it with the spider web and tries to close the distance, only to get his head bashed in yet again with the emerald block. Orange's sensor catches the vibrations of the swing and pulls him away from the boat flying his way, while Red flings a TNT into it. Blue has to dodge the incoming TNT in case of friendly fire, while Orange is pulled into safety. The TNT connects, pushing the boat backwards, and Yellow continues the barrage by sending wither skulls at it, only for the boat to recover fast enough to tumble into the skull and smash it. The boat throws the emerald staff into Yellow and discombobulates him, but Green teleports in front of the boat and intercepts the assault by flying in feet first to kick it. Green opens two more portals to anticipate the boat's trajectory and successfully slams into it from the other side. Red joins Green in beating down the boat. The boat parries Red's first TNT throws, but Green's able to web it to deliver a devastating kick. The boat falls as Green takes Red's TNT and hurls it at it with an amazing somersault. Blue power slides underneath the boat and sends a jolt of lightning at it, only to be caught by the emerald block staff. Orange, on the other hand, is pulled backwards by the sensor staff to dodge the boat as Blue continues his attack. Orange is continuously being pulled backward while Blue is trying to close the distance, and Blue switches to the potion staff but is pushed back by the strength of the emerald block. The boat continues its march only to be bodied by a flying Green, who grabs onto it and sends it up to Yellow, who does, yet again, the best pose in the entire sequence, and torches it without any mercy. The boat tries to block with the emerald staff, but to no avail as it's launched straight into a blinking Red, who mauls its head in with a TNT point blank. The boat flies towards Orange, who with the help of the sensor, automatically swings the bell staff into it. The sensor picks up an incoming Green, and Orange dodges out of his way before they come crashing into each other, and Green's swing connects with the boat as he stumbles backwards and prepares to do another strike, only to be knocked in the back of his neck by a flying Red who shows absolutely no mercy for both him and the boat. This is the third time this sequence that Green's been bodied by an ally. The sensor staff helps Orange dodge Red with the curviest bend I've ever seen in this entire series, and also helps him jump up from Green, who's tumbling to his feet. Green regains his posture as Yellow falls from the sky to a High-Rumi style kick, and Blue joins in to bash the boat in clean. The five of them, exhausted and battered from this entire ordeal, slam the boat with all of their anger, and the boat is reduced to smithereens. Though they're absolutely spent from that battle, they take their time to unwind and celebrate before they're crushed by the quartz ceiling. Green is just stuck to the ceiling, and he just flops to the ground after this. And that's it for the entire sequence. A pretty long analysis, all things considered, because this is a pertinent part of the episode. The sequence has a lot more close-up shots compared to the chef, where the camera is pretty stagnant. But even so, the movement is naturally fast. On a more wholesome note, here's a slow-mo of Blue and Orange protecting each other against an Enderman. Anyway, that's it for me. Subscribe for more frame-by-frame analyses of Alan Becker's fight scene, and tell me what fight you want me to cover next. And if you want more serious analyses, here's my video of purple.